What are you addicted to? I buy around 2 bags of Dove chocolate a week since I work within a 5 minutes walk of a CVS and it's always on sale. I can't do portion control, send help. Daydreaming. It's making it hard to focus in class and distracting during hand-on laboratory exercises. But it's just so good. It doesn't help that I have a very active imagination. The bliss of escaping reality to a more exciting fantasy can only compare to a few things. Edit. This is basically me while in class. YouTube web page. Staying in bed. I am destroying my life because I can't find motivation. Once I get up and see my friends, I am perfectly happy and totally mentally present. But unless someone drags me out of bed, I can't find a reason to get up. I am just so apathetic and it is killing me. And X200B. Edit. For those of you asking, I was diagnosed with moderate GAD and moderate to severe depression about 3 years ago. Medication and therapy brought me to total remission. But over the last several months I have been slipping and feeling like this, even though I am physically active and take my meds. Hey, this sounds like a symptom of depression. I'd say monitor your habits and moods more often just to make sure. I take medication for my depression but still suffer from what OP is talking about, and the meds work for my general depression symptoms. Same here. On meds, I feel like a new man. But holy fuck, my bed is comfy. It's not that I don't have anything better to do either. I have a job, but I regularly skip breakfast so I can lay in bed for more than 5 minutes. You just described me, haha. A week ago I got myself one of those alarm clock lights that simulate a sunrise in the morning. Somehow it's been working so far at helping me get out of bed in the morning. But otherwise I would sleep in until the early afternoon. All because I lack motivation to get up and start my day. When the gray hits your soul like a big whack-a-mole, that's depression. Adopting a cat is probably what helped me the most with this, along with sleep training. I give him wet food first thing in the morning so he always makes sure I am awake. I can ignore and put off lots of things but not that sweet face. Music. I have music on while sleeping, driving, when I'm home, most everywhere. I have music on while typing this. Procrastination. Edit. I have been meaning to get around to this, but thank you for the silver kind stranger. This TED Talk really helped give identity to the different components of procrastination working inside my head. A real eye-opener for me. Hope it gives you food for thought as well. Or watch it later. YouTube webpage. This is me. I've got 3 separate projects sitting within arm's reach that have sat there for at least a year and I haven't done them yet. Then there's the flaws in my house. Have most of the materials to do it, but only halfway through after 2 years. It's a real issue. Drugs. But I am just about 4 months clean. Mostly heroin and opiates of any form. Xanax with coke to round it all out. I was close to losing my life, family, and freedom and still couldn't stop. Living away from my family in a halfway house, staying clean. Wish me luck. Edit. Thanks for the good thoughts. It helps more than you know, internet strangers. And holy shit, thanks for the gold and silver. I think I'm just an addict. In general, I can't drink because I'll drink for days. I learned the guitar then spent a fortune on gear. I smoked weed for the first time in 5 years and haven't stopped in over a week. I started a workout routine and started obsessing on diet and fitness. Don't get me started on Overwatch. I don't think there's a thing on my life that I enjoy in moderation. Same here. I constantly need some kind of drug, whether it be nicotine, caffeine, THC, or exercise. Oddly enough, I was never big on alcohol, though. I could never see myself drinking regularly. I took a psych exam in a psychiatrist's office a few years ago. Took hours. The results said that I am at a high risk for addiction and risky behavior. I think I would get the same results. But what do you do with that information? Thanks for confirming my suspicions, Doc. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to go shotgun beers in the parking lot after being stuck in here all day. Okay, I gotta go. I've got 5 more psychological exams scheduled for today. I suppose the hope is that you'll enroll in therapy of some kind. Work on controlling impulses. Maybe introduce some type of medication if it gets to that point. I don't know exactly, but I do know a huge part of addressing a problem is knowing about it. So I guess it's more of a starting point. Yeah, I mean, even just knowing you are that way is half the battle. Imagine how many people not only aren't aware they have a self-destructive addictive personality, but sincerely believe they don't have such a personality, necessitating their mind being changed about it before any help is possible. OP and everyone in the thread is definitely aware and specifically asking what they can do about it, which I think is a great sign. Some people are just born addicts, I think. I'm one of them. Ever since I was a kid, I would take a lot of Benadryl just because, or sneak into the liquor cabinet every night. I can't explain it. It's almost like being sober is uncomfortable. It didn't catch up to me till I found oxycodone. I was doomed the moment I swallowed that first pill. For me, solitude. I can't wait to get off work, go home, lock the door and see no one. The 20 beers is part of it, I guess. This is why I am so adamant about not ever taking narcotics. I am just a natural addict. I don't know why, but if there is something there I will take it. Even if I don't really think I even want it, I'll take it. I can't stop myself. And I know that if I tried something like Oxy, or Coke, or anything that is seriously addictive on its own, I'd be fucking doomed and I would never get out from under it. I want to be able to have moderation, but I can't. Man, my girlfriend brought up some examples like that to me and it hit home hard. You don't keep sweets because you eat them all. You avoid alcohol. You get some weed and never put it away. Your workouts are obsessive, etc. She keeps it up and I'll have to get addicted to another GF. I never have junk food in my house because I will 100% eat it all in 2 days. Only self-control I have is when I'm literally in the store. I'm the same with weed. I don't have any for a few months and I'm fine, but when a friend slides me a gram I do nothing but get stoned for a week. I totally get that. I smoked for 20 years. Quit and replaced that addiction with food. On top of that I get addicted to routines. If I get into a routine of drinking, I will drink. If I get into a routine of eating cake, I will eat cake. I literally get addicted to everything. I have a friend just like you. Started in motocross, became obsessed, had all the stuff, had kids, made 5, until his wife shut that down. Got his kids mini dirt bikes when they were 2. Got 1 to 2. Is now covered in tattoos. Became obsessed with Halloween stuff. Bought up a ton of movie quality animatronics. SP. Needed to rent a storage unit to store it all through the other 11 months of the year. Got into soccer. Named his kids very identifiable soccer names. Got his kids way into soccer. Bought season tickets to our local MLS team. One kid hinted at liking hockey. My friend abandoned all soccer stuff and dove in head first with all kids now in hockey. EVERYTHING is now hockey, including the dry rink, which is now his entire basement. Bought a loud horn to sound off when his kids' teams score. Season tickets to our local NHL team, etc. I wait for the next thing. Chapstick. I carry one with me always, and have never been without one on me since I was a kid. If I don't use it, my lips feel dry as a dessert. But using it daily actually makes your lips more chapped. 7 signs your lip balm use is just a bad habit. Health Essentials from Cleveland Clinic webpage. It's a vicious cycle. My wife cannot go to sleep without chapstick. I've made midnight runs to 24-hour shops to get some so she could sleep. For our first anniversary I literally bought her a case of her favorite kind from a retail supplier. It lasted about 5 years. Anytime she couldn't find a tube I'd just go get a fresh one from the bathroom closet. Actually, now that I think about it, we should probably re-up on our supply. I was this way for decades. Carmex was my jam. 2 years ago I decided to go cold turkey. The first week was tough. Fortunately I live in a humid climate. But when temps drop and things get dry I still get some cracking. I just push through and deal with it, because I worry if I start again I won't be able to stop. I've been on and off trying to kick balm to the curb, but it's currently minus 20°C and I turn into Gollum when I can't find it during winter. What kind do you use? I am addicted to Burt's Bees. Edit. WW wow. My first gold. Thank you, kind stranger. May Bert and his bees smile upon you. This is an insane addiction of my own. If I can't find my Burt's Bees for over 5 seconds I slowly descend into panic. I was living abroad for a year and made my parents send me a whole stock of it because where I moved to, it was about double the price. I annoy literally every single person I have ever met with this issue. I wish I could upvote this multiple times. I have to have a different one in every possible location because I must have it on hand. Every coat pocket, every bag, backpack, in the car, at my desk, bedside table, and a bunch of extras as backup. My favorite is Burt's Bees Honey, but I always lose it within a week of using it. Amazingly, one day last week I found 3 that I'd lost and I was so filled with joy. Lol. It's kinda funny that I got this. Dr. Pillion has heard people say that applying lip balm causes the body to stop generating natural moisture around the lips. That is just a myth, she says. From the actual link you provided. Honestly, I'm a student. I'm paying $24,000 baseline for school. Then there's living expenses, laundry, bills, taxes, gas, and yet, I have 2 shelves of tea. Not in a cupboard or something, 3-foot long shelves. The tea is stacked 3 boxes high. I have so fucking many boxes. Why am I like this? Is there a cure? Will I ever change? Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z. If we're talking physical addiction, then coffee. Definitely coffee. I can go without alcohol or weed or video games or Reddit for a few days and it's not a big deal. But even if I sleep in and don't need the coffee to wake up, I still will feel like shit if I don't have some. Same. I tried to quit coffee caffeine cold turkey and didn't make it past day 3. I was grouchy and had a headache, and felt like shit. Yep. I'm a barista so it's unavoidable. Oddly enough, my appetite for coffee disappears completely when I get sick. So on top of the sore throat, runny nose, I get a pounding headache until I remember I haven't had caffeine in 2 days and force some down. Ironically, I've tried most hard drugs during a less responsible period of my life but somehow never did any of them more than a few times. I doubt I could kick coffee even if I wanted to. Alcohol. I've been sober since the 9th of August, 2018, but damn if I don't crave a drink every afternoon or when I'm stressed. Edit. Thank you for the gold. I haven't had a drink since the 4th of September, 2015, and I think about drinking multiple times a day. I feel ya, friend. Good for you. As someone who lost her dad to alcohol, I can assure you that through your persistence you have given your friends and family the best gift ever. Nothing. Not that I have no addictions, but God, I cannot stop doing nothing. I race home after work to sit in my apartment. I have plenty I could do. I'm a musician. I do graphic design. I love video games. But more often than not, I'm just sitting here in my apartment by myself bouncing between Reddit and Imgur chasing a dopamine hit so that I don't feel so empty. I'm fine though. Really, I can't put into words how much I relate to this. I have so many hobbies and things I wish to pursue and be better in, and yet I spend all my time browsing through social media, sleeping, and honestly sometimes just staring and daydreaming about what I could accomplish. I lack the willpower to get up and actually ever do anything about it, and when I think about this it makes me feel bad, but I can't stop wanting to just lay around and not do anything. What you're feeling could be described as anhedonia, potentially a symptom of a larger mental health issue. Partially writing this for myself, as I struggle with depression and relate to all of you. Reposting so a few more people in this thread can hopefully see it. Find ways to trick yourself into doing productive things. It's easy to convince yourself to clean just one tiny section of the counter, but chances are once you get started you'll end up cleaning the whole thing. Any sort of things that will better your life. Take small steps at first. Allow yourself to celebrate small victories. Don't continue to beat yourself up or dwell on the past, getting lost regretting the time you lost. All you really have is right now. Do focus on the future and your potential for growth in any moment. Think about things in your life you are grateful for. A somewhat morbid, but still motivating thought experiment that might help is to imagine yourself dead in this moment, viewing your life as a ghost. How would ghost you feel about what you are doing currently? What would ghost you tell yourself to do? How could you make ghost you proud? Life is short, but it's a gift. Make the most of it. I'm a sex addict. I've spent almost $11,000 on hookers in the past 9 months since I started. I was a virgin before. You need to be in therapy for this. No shame. Just start seeing someone. If you haven't started already. Yes. See a specialist OP. Your addiction doesn't stem from sex. It's coming from the gratification. You need to be able to handle the depression without ruining your financial life, sex life, and legal freedoms. A doctor, therapist, or psychiatrist could be your biggest change. This is the most accurate advice I've seen in the thread. The whole gratification thing can basically be said about any addiction. Out of curiosity, how do you fund this addiction? Is it a problem financially or does it not make a dent? From a past post of his, I've taken out $7,500 in student loans to pay for this. And of course my grades are slipping. I have an addiction and I'm in desperate need of Reddit webpage. OP has it bad. He needs to get this under control before it ruins his life. I use my student loans to pay for it. I get enough from grants and scholarships to pay for tuition and housing, and I also work to support myself, but at the rate that I'm spending it isn't enough. I currently owe $9,000 in student loans. The good news is that I'm graduating soon and I won't pay interest or make any payments until 6 months after I graduate. I get subsidized loans. My friend, 6 months goes by fast and that debt becomes a big burden. Spend your last few dollars and get some help counsel. You're worth it. You have a full life ahead. And X200B. Listen to this guy. Also start paying ASAP. Don't wait until they force you. Interest is a bitch. Don't let it compound. Dude, you really need to seek help and get tested. You're the same age as me. Don't throw your life away for some nights of pleasure. Get help immediately. Was knocked off my bike on the way to work 2 years ago by an idiot driver and had to have surgery for testicular torsion and to fix a prolapsed disc. Had to take very strong painkillers to relieve the pain that I still feel today for my back. Been on a repeat prescription until the pain goes away, which to this day it hasn't. But now I can't go a day without the painkillers. I'll get crippling pains, headaches, go feverish, and some days where I try going cold turkey. I vomit constantly. Addiction is a horrible thing, and no matter what the naysayers say, you cannot just snap out of it. My dad was on opiate painkillers for 10 years. The process to get off of them was a 1+ year taper. You just can't go cold turkey with the horrid things. Or, you can. But not easily. A guy I knew turned to heroin just to stop feeling like shit after he recovered from a BMX accident and his doctor yanked the pills. I met him, sweating and shaking and looking very sick, outside of a gas station. Put him up for the night, and, after a lot of convincing and some good conversation, delivered him to a rehab facility the next morning. He was a good guy. I hope he's doing better. But I forgot his last name, unfortunately, and so cannot get back in touch. As long as I have more than 6 months to live, there is nothing in this world that will convince me to use opiates. A guy I knew turned to heroin just to stop feeling like shit after he recovered from a BMX accident and his doctor yanked the pills. I think that is how most people get onto heroin. Especially when heroin is so much cheaper than buying pills off of the street. That's a really big problem in Philadelphia right now. It's the same in St. Louis and St. Louis County. The high school I went to is nicknamed Heroin High. It is a horrible epidemic. Boredom. I can't seem to decide on doing anything for fun. Edit. I'd like to clarify that I appreciate all the suggestions, but some of them are impractical to do because of personal circumstances. I'd also like to clarify that I have ADHD and was medicated, but I no longer need the meds. I also don't think it's depression, as I've always went through a cycle of being really interested in something to then being bored for several days. So it's the result of ADHD. Buy a bowl of chocolate-shaped soap. Same as Dove ones, or chop the soap and place in bowl. Buy Dove chocolate. Chop it too and incorporate. Leave it on your nightstand or living room table. Whenever you want to eat them chocos, just grab one off the bowl. It's like a Scrodinger's bowl. You never know what you're gonna get. That's actually a great idea, haha. Bonus points if it's chocolate scented soap so you can't tell. That would kill my chocolate appetite real quick. Want some chocolate? No thanks. It tastes like soap to me. Oh okay, oops, sorry, I forgot. I used to mix soap and chocolate. That explains so much and yet so little. Self-harm. But I have been doing well with not doing it for a few months. I'm glad you've been doing well these last few months. Self-harm can be incredibly hard to stop, and unfortunately for many people it's something where the urge never really goes away. Healthy coping mechanisms are out there, you just gotta find something that works for you. I hope you're able to stick with doing well. Please don't be afraid to reach out for help if you need it. Putting my hands in cold water. When I get home from work I fill a bucket up with ice water and dip my hands in there and then fill it with more ice throughout the night. I do this every day. I am also addicted to Soda Boy. They encourage people with self-harm tendencies to do this. It probably gives some kind of chemical release similar to self-harm. For anyone struggling, this or simply holding ice is a great way to inflict pain without damaging your body. It hurts like a bitch. I just abuse super hot sauce, Reaper peppers, Scorpion peppers, extract, the works, intense pain, no lasting marks. It's also recommended in therapy if you are somebody who suffers from ruminating thoughts or anxiety. The sudden shock of the cold allows your brain to stop the thought cycle momentarily so that it gives yourself a chance to use a coping skill. Highly recommend. It's called the dive reflex. When your face or body hits cold water, it instantly slows your heart and breathing rates to keep you from panicking and help you survive. It allows you to slow down your thinking. Source: 15 months in DBT. This is a skill taught for distress tolerance. This is a technique my psychologist taught me and it really works and helps. It is the best thing I have ever learned. It activates your vagus vein, nerve, and causes a physiological change in your body which calms you and reduces your heart rate. For the best and quickest results, hold your face in cold water and hold your breath for 30 seconds. Coughing and bearing down, activating your core like you're going to poop, are also ways of activating your vagus nerve. In fact, when people pass out on the toilet while pooping, it's due to the heart rate dropping to low from the vagal stimulation. The bearing down action is called the Valsalva maneuver. Source: clinical neuroscientist and now neuronursing student. This should be at the very top. Everyone needs to see this and think about the things I am currently thinking. Marijuana and trains. Edit. Thank you for the silver and all the positive comments. One so high legalized weed, you'll find me in the triangle in Fostoria. Alcohol. But I haven't had a drink in 11 days, and without it I feel like I'm high on something. Turns out, real life feels good after a year of substance abuse. Keep it up. I almost died from alcohol withdrawal at 26 before I knew what it was. Went into full-blown delirium and had to be out in a medically induced coma. Doctor told me I was lucky to avoid brain damage and could have died. I still continued to drink for another decade plus. I have medically detoxed 3 times since then. Had my last drink the 10th of December, 2017. Edit. Thank you kind Redditors who gave me my first silver and gold, and thanks for all the support from all of you. As far as how much I was drinking, I started drinking at 19 and dove in head first. Drank mostly beer until I was 25 or so, then switched to whiskey. I was drinking half a gallon, 1.75 L, a day. I couldn't physically function without booze. I had my last drink on a Thursday night. Spent Friday and Saturday sweating, tossing, turning and from nightmares. On Sunday I went to my mom's. Went to sleep and went into full delirium tremens in middle of night. I wandered out of the house and was found passed out in a yard 3 blocks away. Didn't regain consciousness until Friday morning in the ICU. I stopped cold 49 days ago after my liver decided it hated me. I'd been downing way too much for a long time. I didn't get a decent night's sleep until day 22. Now I feel like a new man. I'll find out Monday if my liver is still pissed or if we are getting along again. That's rough. I count myself lucky that I don't have any physical ramifications. For me to stop, it took the girl I'm into straight up telling me I have a drinking problem. And then a serious mess up at work. Whenever I've felt like I've needed a fix, I've been writing, reading, eating healthy food, exercising, and keeping on top of errands. Seems to be doing the trick. Adderall, weed, coffee, my phone, Adderall, Netflix, YouTube, Adderall. Did I mention Adderall? This one is strange to me. I have ADHD and took Adderall once a day every day between the ages of 6 and 14. Then in high school probably a few times a week, and then in college just for tests, studying, partying. But in all this time I've never craved it or wanted it. Now I rarely take it at all. Never has seemed to have any addictive properties to me. Maybe because I see it as medical rather than a drug. Also it could be that if you have ADHD it should bring you closer to normal, where someone who does not require it to feel normal feels superhuman. This is fairly true. But as someone with ADHD, the normal that people imagine still feels close to superhuman. Being able to actually focus my attention and energy is incredible compared to the norm. WW2 books. Have a couple hundred books already on the subject. Only going to keep expanding my library. Definitely my most prized possession. I have a Kindle for my school books, but my personal library will always be paper. Same. I'm addicted to history. Manly WW1 onwards. Along with weapons, tactics, aircraft, tanks, vehicles, down to a soldier's uniform stitching. It's bad, bro. This is the cutest comment on a pretty dark thread. You do you. Bath bomb dude. It's me, Jackhole, and my vagina is lovely this time of year, thanks for asking. Fuck, that made me laugh. You do you. Dude. Enjoy those Mafakin bath bombs. Short-term pleasure. And X200B. Edit. Lots of messages or I didn't know how to describe this. This is me. We're biologically wired this way. To seek out short-term boosts like fats and sweets from a time when we didn't have domesticated civilizations. There is nothing wrong with you. That's why JP's Rule 7 is seek out what's meaningful, not expedient. Denying short-term satisfaction is what introduces you to discipline. Doesn't make it any less easier. IMHO, everyone is an addict for something. It may not have the repercussions of heroin or gambling addiction, but everyone seeks out something. Yo, that's a good way to describe it. I not only procrastinate like a motherfucker, but I also eat quickly, crunch hard candy, and drink sodas really fast. Short-term pleasure addiction kinda sucks. Yes, everyone is always like, wow, you must have been hungry when I'm finished my meal way before anyone else. A lollipop is just a harder to chew candy, but I will still chew it at risk of breaking my teeth. I'll lick the lollipop a few times before taking the first bite, but I won't unwrap it and bite it immediately. It's too hard to bite immediately. How does one break this habit? Honestly, things like Reddit and other apps that have a never-ending scrolling timeline really feed this addiction. Fresh, low-effort content instantaneously. It's difficult. It's very hard to break bad habits, and to build new good ones. For me, realizing that those meaningless activities at 4 AM never would make me happy, and reflecting over what I really want from this short life we have helped. I accepted the fact that a meaningful life comes with a lot of work and responsibility, and started actually trying to improve myself. I still often fail miserably, but I think the small victories you achieve when pursuing a meaningful life only will get bigger if you keep on fighting towards it. I don't think you can break these types of habits without replacing them with better ones. So it all depends on what you want from life. I started by trying to take better care of myself. Go to bed at a reasonable hour, exercise, cook and eat decent food, read, exercise, etc. The more you do it, the easier it will become. And if you do it enough, you won't have the time or energy for meaningless Facebook feeds or whatever it may be. Very much this. Anything that takes time or effort I struggle with doing. If there is an easy option to something that is leftovers, the next button on YouTube, my body autopilots to do that instead of taking the effort to do something more rewarding but more taxing. I'm sober for 5 months now, but it's still tough. Nicotine. Have not had nicotine in 48 hours or so. Very tough. Caffeine. I'm keeping this on the list a while longer until I confidently say I'm off nicotine at least. And I enjoy my coffee. Lots of coffee. You should drink your coffee guilt-free knowing you're quitting smoking and drinking. Stardew Valley. Jokes aside, I spend too much time playing games now that I have my own PC. Edit. A word because Google Keyboard doesn't like me. Escapism. Whether through alcohol, THC, isolation, or noise-cancelling headphones, I always find myself wanting to get away from life. Sugar, but more specifically sodas. Which is why I cut myself off starting last month. Unfortunately, Chick-fil-A. I have been depressed for the past 2 years, and I had been sleeping on the couch at my sister's place. So, after school I would go to Chick-fil-A and get an hour to myself in my car. That was the only time I was happy. I did this for 2 years every day. Now that I'm on my own, I still go to Chick-fil-A almost every day and it's very hard for me to stop. At some point I must have started associating their food with happiness, and the dopamine from food certainly didn't help. Over the past 2 years, I have gained 60 pounds, lost all interest in all my hobbies including education. I'm now going to a subpar university living my life without any active effort. Edit. I haven't gone there since Wednesday. That is big for me. I also went grocery shopping and created a food plan. That's a ton of sodium. Maybe slowly replace Chick-fil-A with healthier store-bought alternatives? I'll be honest, I'm starting to feel it. More migraines, more laziness, everything hurts. I'm trying a lot to stop eating that stuff, but it's really hard. My body just goes into automatic mode and I'm on my way to Chick-fil-A. Funny enough, when I can control myself, I stick to 1,500 calories and lose weight. I've lost 5 pounds over the last month because I can control myself very rarely. Do you have any specific suggestions? I know how to cook but my addiction makes me go get the fast food anyway. Not being sober. Currently controlling my alcoholism with weed. It's nice I'm not destroying the shit out of 5 different organs anymore, but the only time I'm not high is when I'm at work now. Nicotine. Every single pack of cigarettes I've bought for the last 8 years has been my last one ever. Seriously, kids, don't start smoking. Wallowing in the shower. I swear I should have been born a seal or something. It's my natural habitat. Running. I actually hurt my feet running too much. I haven't run in a few days because I've been too exhausted to move. God, I wish I could run right now. I'm like a chocoholic, but with alcohol. Edit. My most upvoted, most gilded comment ever is a blatant onion ripoff. Everyone's an idiot. If you want to gild something actually intelligent like this. Cancer in America is way down. Mortality rates declined each year from 1991 through 2016, averting 2.6 million deaths. Gains have been reaped mostly by the wealthy. The impact of limited access to treatment for the poorest Americans has increased inequality, wealth-based inequality. Science webpage. Edit 2. Yes, I misspelled guild. Well done. Nerds. What do you want? Daddy was drunk. Here's an Onion article from another sufferer of this peculiar condition. I'm like a chocoholic, but for booze webpage. My most recent bender was today. There was a good movie on TV, and I figured, hey, I'll need steady hands to change the volume. Jesus, this is fucking great. Water. I feel really ill, disoriented, achy, and just generally unpleasant if I'm not constantly getting my fix. Even when just driving around town, I feel like I need to have some on me just in case. From a young age I was introduced to some very hard drugs. Fast forward to 2017 and my grandma passed and a friend of mine gave me some speed to try and I was down for it. One time thing right, wrong. I was addicted to it. More so crystal meth. For at least 11 months. I cleaned myself up for a few months with the help of my boyfriend. Then had a 1-week slip and haven't touched it since. Although I recreationally use blow and drink very rarely. But I also just quit smoking and feel better. Addictions take time to get better but I believe in you all. Let me get my list. Porn, cell phone, Reddit, lol, video games, weed, junk food, sugar. I also wasn't aware I could be addicted to human contact like cuddles, kisses or sex. I found out after leaving my girlfriend of 2 years, which was my first long-term relationship ever. Withdrawal is insanely hard to deal with. Cuddling is the best shit ever, right? EKY so many guys hate on it, I love it, I'd take it over a bowl in a millisecond. I honestly think I'm addicted to human contact as well, been single for 2 years now and I yearn for a gentle hug and a forehead kiss. Jewel. I am 44 years old. I smoked cigarettes for 20 years and quit about 10 years ago. My daughter had a Jill and I had the insane thought that I should try it. I am right back where I was 10 years ago. So really I am addicted to nicotine and that addiction never goes away. But at last I haven't touched cocaine or alcohol in 12 years. I love 2 Monk Ice. A delicious, refreshing crunch that invigorates the mind and cleans the veins. Recently though I had a respiratory illness that I thought was just allergies and I was crunching away, thinking the ice would make me feel better. But it was actually making it worse. The ice had betrayed me. Yes, I know I have bad iron. Self-harm. Wish it wasn't the case, but alas I've been doing it for more years than I've not. I used to self-harm. I pulled myself together and quit when I joined the Navy. Self-harm is an instant disqualification. I cut once in boot and then I was done. Truth be told, I still think about how good it feels from time to time. I just have to occupy myself differently when I get those thoughts. Like play video games or go on Reddit. Or jack off. It helps to suppress the feelings with more different feelings. I hope this helps. I've been clean for almost 3 years now. Flirting and nicotine. The rush you get from talking to someone. Letting the tension build to a breaking point. At its very peak of will it or will it not happen, and both of you going over the edge and making a serious move. And nicotine cause it's a vile addictive substance, lol. Not sure if real addiction, but here goes. Low self-esteem. I am so used to having it, and not seeing myself as worth it. I don't know how or why to say I am. I'm not suicidal. I just don't think I'm anything special. Self-esteem isn't thinking that you're special. It's just thinking that you're worthy. And if you're a decent person, then you're worthy. I think just having the wherewithal to post what you have means that you are. This whole everyone is special bullshit movement, and me egotism industry has a lot to answer for. It's okay to just be somebody. It's enough to be unique, not special. And literally everyone is unique. I recommend that you read Happy by Darren Brown. Goodreads webpage. Purging my food. I started out by eating a spoonful of peanut butter a day, but when I started passing out at work while working out and not being able to think straight, for a compromise, I began to eat semi-normal portions, but I would have to throw up immediately afterwards. It got to the point where I was purging multiple times during one meal. I hate it and it is disgusting. Especially when it got so bad that I was doing it in gross public restrooms. But it is overridden by the instant gratification that comes from knowing that you are food, but didn't absorb all the calories. Fuck eating disorders. Alcohol, weed, Phenibut, Kratom, Tramadol, Adderall, Benzus, sketchy Chinese research chemicals. My addiction just kept progressively getting worse and worse. There were times I would take like 7 different drugs in a day, washing it down with alcohol every single night for years. After binging on Adderall and Benzus, I felt like I was losing my grip on reality and I was sick of the way life was going. It just felt every day I was digging myself deeper into a hole. That same day I put down the shuffle and I've been sober for over 5 months now, replacing those addictions with working out and hiking, and life has been so much better. I'm so much happier and positive every day. I don't really believe in God, but I feel like I've been saved by the Lord and given a second chance at life. If you told me 5 months ago that I'd be dating one of the most beautiful girls I've ever met, who accepts me despite being a super shy kissless virgin, not for long I hope, lol, I would just laugh in your face. Things just keep looking up for me, and it all started with becoming sober and replacing those destructive addictions with positive ones. Dead serious. Music. I listen to about 4 to 6 hours every day, and start to get urges and mood swings if I can't play something calming on a bad day. Lights. We have around 80 smart lights total in our home. Bulbs, strips, panels, etc. And I still think we need more actually. I think I'm addicted to smart home in general. My setup is almost embarrassingly large for a residential home.